Thank you, George. It's really good to see you all. And hello to family and friends who get to tune in from afar. I started my married life with Andy here at St. Paul's in 1992. We didn't do much beyond Sunday services and an inquirer's class at first. Then somebody took a chance and asked if I had time to help with a project. God must have really wanted me to stick around here because the someone was Mary Lee Anderson. Her gentle spirit guided me right onto a pathway of belonging. Mary Lee played a part in the early years of forming this community, and she shared stories about those times and the people who grew this church. It made me feel connected. Those early years of service were short-term projects and small investments of myself. That was all that fit during those years of raising our boys. But then came the ASP years and a big shift in my thinking. For those of you not familiar with that acronym, ASP is the Appalachia Service Project, and it is often described as a relational ministry with construction on the side. It's also described as cold showers, air mattresses, and how many times has this home site been flooded? Aside from the fun of being with high schoolers for a week, being welcomed as a visitor in impoverished regions really affected me. Weeks, months, even years after those trips, I found people's stories staying with me. I had questions that didn't have simple answers. Why do these people live in these homes? What forces are keeping them in harm's way? It was my first taste of being proximate to injustice, and it wasn't easy to let go of the discomfort. The discomfort led me right back to St. Paul's. I turned to small groups like Julian Gathering and book study groups, seeking new perspectives. I found many of you were struggling with similar questions, and we had a safe place to share our feelings and to challenge each other not to run away from uncomfortable places. Through ASP, I discovered that service that made you uncomfortable was doable as long as you had a safe place like St. Paul's to land afterward. The next big leap in my development has taken place in the last 4 years, courtesy of my time on vestry and the perspective that I gained learning to lead. Since my nest was emptying at home and I was slowing down at work, it seemed like a good time to do more at St. Paul's. Yes, I knew George was taking a sabbatical and that I was agreeing to that rare 2-year term as senior warden, but St. Paul's was on a roll. We were finally tackling a renovation and planning to hire a minister for children and families, not to mention hiring a facilities manager. So many of you told me you believed I could do this. You encouraged me, you thanked me, you prayed for me, you showed up for me and for one another. Remember that party that we had at Bass Lake? As senior warden, I was able to see the extent of who we are at St. Paul's, how we care for one another here as well as those beyond our walls, for refugee families, for Habitat and Dorcas and those who are food insecure. Every effort has someone working behind the scenes to ensure that what we are doing is safe, effective, and suited to our abilities. A senior warden gets to see all of this going on, and it's inspiring. The worst part of my time as senior warden came during the pandemic, when the wind in our sails stopped so abruptly. Everyone had time to rethink life and what mattered. That process brought me face to face with an important question. Why Of all the places where I can invest my time and energy, am I investing it here at St. Paul's? I am here serving because Mary Lee Anderson breached that awkward moment of the first ask and invited me to be useful. And that gift of usefulness opened me to the stories of the foundation of this community and made me want to belong. I am here serving because I have a brain and a heart that want to be formed and reformed, and St. Paul's has the means of providing that formation. I am here serving because I can return again and again with more questions, and there is an altar on which to lay my burdens that gives me hope. Hope is the grace that makes my service at St. Paul's worth more to me than I could ever repay to you, my friends, no matter what I do or how many times I serve as senior warden. Because of the hope I find at St. Paul's, I understand the world both a little more and a little less. I'm willing to go way outside my comfort zone and sit in a mosque and talk about affordable housing because one of you will go with me. I am here serving because I believe in what we can accomplish together. My service on vestry prepared me to launch my energy into One Wake, the community organization that ties us to other communities of hope throughout Wake County. We are not the only ones feeling overwhelmed by the needs around us. And my confidence as a leader in One Wake comes from what you taught me by electing me to the vestry, how you empowered me to make this world better. I am here serving because we are in this together. But remember, this type of service doesn't happen in a vacuum. We need this place to continue to feed us through a community of support, through its formation activities, through the nourishment and hope we receive every time we come to the altar. And that is why I want to thank you for your ongoing financial support of St. Paul's. And I want to encourage you to pledge if you've never done so, or increase your pledge if you are in a place where you're able to do so. The world has changed so much over the past couple of years. As a former warden, I know that your support during the pandemic was a tremendous lift and made a huge difference. As we transition back in new ways, as we support our ministries, growing staff and offerings, I'm asking you to dig deep and make St. Paul's a top priority in your life. People need hope more than we have ever seen. Sustain that hope by sustaining this place, and then let's get back to serving together. Thank you.